Hello, I'm Alan, and welcome to today's edition of Alan's Cycling Adventures. Today is another big day. We're going from Wickenburg to Prescott, Arizona. It's a shorter ride, only 60 miles, but with 6,000 feet of climbing. So it should definitely be a challenge. And here is everybody getting all lined up. And as usual, if you enjoyed today's video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Click the subscribe button to subscribe to my channel. And if you have any questions, comments, suggestions, or ideas for future editions of Alan's Cycling Adventures, be sure to leave them in the comments below. Well, without further ado, let's ride. At the start of today's ride, as we were leaving Wickenburg, we did encounter some road construction. As a result, we all departed as a group and ended up forming a single file eventually. Looks like we're getting into single file here. Just to get through the construction zone. During the construction zone, we did encounter our first climb. It was not that big of a climb, but it was enough of a climb that some breaks formed in the group, and some of the faster riders and better climbers went ahead, and some of us stayed behind. I wouldn't say I'm one of the slower riders, but I'm definitely not one of the faster riders. Somewhere in between. In any event, we also encountered some road construction just before we got to the Yarnell Pass, and so we were actually stopped there for a bit. They had one lane for both directions for several miles. And so it was one of those where they have one guy at one end stopping traffic with another guy at the other end signaling for the traffic to go through. Once enough cars have gone through, he'll stop the traffic and then radio to the other guy. And once the last car goes through, he can then start letting the cars going in the other direction. They also had a pilot vehicle leading the traffic, and they probably had a vehicle trailing the traffic as well. In any event, once they let our direction through, they waited for all of the cars to go and then sent us through, because otherwise we would have been slowing everybody down. Did make for some interestingness when we got to the other end, but more on that in a little bit. Looks like I'm coming up on the Yarnell Pass here. In terms, or at least the construction before the Yarnell Pass, in terms of the ride itself, some ride statistics. The ride was on August 9th, and we started at 7:38 a.m. The weather was clear, and temperature was 56 degrees Fahrenheit, with a feels-like temperature of 54 degrees Fahrenheit. The humidity was 23%, and the wind was 2.7 miles per hour from the northeast. The length of this ride, according to my data, was 59.94 miles, which I accomplished with an average moving speed of 10.6 miles per hour and a maximum speed of 42.1 miles per hour. I had an average moving time, or not an average, I had a moving time of 5 hours, 40 minutes, 34 seconds, and an elapsed time of 7 hours, 2 minutes, and 1 second. Of course, the elapsed time includes the time that we were stopped waiting for traffic just before the Yarnell Pass. My average heart rate today was 118 beats per minute, and my maximum heart rate was 140. So it looks like my limiting factor today was leg strength and not cardio fitness. You can see I'm going up the Yarnell Pass at this point. While I was going up the Yarnell Pass, my battery actually died, and I had to stop and change it, and so I did take that opportunity to take a few still photos as well as to record a short video. And so that is coming up in just a moment. I still have about a mile of climbing to go, but excuse me, the GoPro battery died, so I had to stop and change it, and that'll give me an opportunity to show you where we came from and where we're at. And now it's time to finish this climb. I had a calorie burn of 1,918 according to Strava, with an average cadence of 64 and a maximum cadence of 159, if that's believable. Strava says we gained 5,786 feet. Garmin says 5,627. I had a total of 20,080 pedal strokes and an average power output of 110 watts. According to Garmin, we had 7 major climbs. The first one was at 2.1 miles, which was 1.15 miles in length, and 194 feet of elevation gain at an average gradient of 3%. The second one, the Yarnell Pass, was at 16.8 miles into the ride, 7.52 miles in length, with an elevation gain of 2,536 feet at an average gradient of 6%. The third one was at 38.3 miles into the ride, 8.1 miles in length, with an elevation gain of 1,568 feet at an average gradient of 3%. The fourth one was at 47.5 miles into the ride, 0.52 miles in length, elevation gain of 154 feet, and average gradient of 5%. The fifth one was at 49 miles, 1.39 miles in length, 381 feet elevation gain at an average gradient of 5%. Sixth one was at 51.3 miles, 1.52 miles in length, 335 feet of elevation, average gradient 4%. And the last one was at 54.1 miles, 0.54 miles in length, 164 feet of elevation, average gradient 5%. In terms of where this ride was, most of the route was US 93 north to Arizona Highway 89 north. We went over the Granite Mountain and through the Yarnell Pass. We started in Wickenburg, then through Monte Vista Ranch, Wickenburg Ranch, Flores, Congress, Yarnell. We had a SAG stop in Flora May Park after the Yarnell Pass. We went through Peoples Valley and then started the climb into Prescott, through Kirkland Junction, Wilhite, where we stopped at a store called Country Corner, Ponderosa Park, and finally into Prescott. By the way, Prescott is absolutely gorgeous. You'll see in the climb to Prescott, there's lots of pine trees. It was really nice. The climb itself was kind of broken up because it was actually the last 5 of the Garmin climbs were all the climb into Prescott. So we'd go uphill for a while, then have some downhill, and then uphill for a while, and some more downhill. After the last climbing segment, it was all downhill into Prescott. Lots of coasting, lots of relaxing at that point. But it was all of that climbing today that resulted in such a slow average moving speed. Believe me, it was not due to a lack of effort on my part. I would say that I feel very accomplished from this ride. It was, once again, the biggest climb I have undertaken. It was also, actually it wasn't the most elevation gain on one ride, but it was the biggest climb. When I did the Gran Fondo Hincapi Lehigh Valley, that one actually had more total elevation gain, but it was also a longer ride, and it had a lot more climbs, even though they were shorter climbs. Anyway, I hope you are enjoying the scenery. Looks like I am either climbing into Prescott, or I might be on that descent at this point. Actually, it looks like I'm still on the climb, because I did stop briefly to take a picture of a sign. There was a sign showing the elevation, which I think is just up ahead. And then I continued on with the descent. So, tomorrow is a shorter ride. It's 40, 45, something like that miles. But tomorrow we will be going over Mingus Mountain. And then there is a long descent into the town we're staying at. And the next day, we go to Flagstaff. Oh, yeah, tomorrow is Cottonwood. And the next day, we go to Flagstaff. And after Flagstaff, we do get a well-deserved rest day. I am very much looking forward to that. Anyway, here I am going through downtown Prescott, so I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you tomorrow. All right, I did it. Another riding day done. Another hard day on the saddle. 6,000 feet of climbing and 60 miles. And I am here in beautiful Prescott, Arizona. Well, until next time, stay safe out there.